My name is Fergal Mcgrath, and I'm a survey team leader at the Marine Institute in Ireland on the Infomar programme. And the theme of this afternoon was bridging policy and practice. And what I want to do is try and give you an example of some projects that we run in Ireland that deliver directly to policy implementation and the lessons that we've learned in developing this series of projects. The talk refers to SeaShelf, but it's only the latest iteration, and it's built on the success of all of these other projects that I'm going to mention. So it's all linked. It's a different talk to what you've had yesterday and today. There's no models, there's no formula, there's no circular flow diagrams. There's definitely no kittens. So feel free to leave or talk amongst yourselves. I'll just give you a bit of background on the actual framework that facilitates these projects first. So as I mentioned, I work with the Infomar programme, and the Infomar programme is a joint seabed mapping programme in Ireland between the Marine Institute and Geological Survey of Ireland. So it's a 20-year programme that started in 2006, and we're hoping to maybe get a small extension to finish it off properly 2028. So there are 3 programme areas in the Infomar. Programme area 1 is the data acquisition. So we acquire a suite of multi-beam data, associated backscatter, geophysical data, and sampling data. And the important thing about the data that we acquire is that we provide it for free. So Programme Area 2 is where that data are developed and delivered into products. So we deliver bathymetric grids, we deliver the data to the UKHO for updating our Admiralty charts. We also develop seabed classification maps for anybody to use. And I guess the key thing is that the data are available for free, and this really goes towards supporting marine policy, sustainability, and planning. And it also gives researchers access to one of the largest coherent data sets of its type in the world. And this has got huge value, because one of the real valuable things about giving away your data for free is what other people do with it and what other people make with it. So researchers develop tools and different methodologies using our data set, and that brings value back into Infomar and to Ireland. So the third programme area is the area that concerns this talk. It's the value-added exploitation area. So I'm the manager for the value-added exploitation section of Infomar. And part of that job involves becoming involved in projects that add value to Infomar's data and that deliver value to the country as a whole. And also another part of it is scoping and developing projects using external funding to also deliver those products. In the value-added exploitation area, these are just some examples of what I'm talking about. So, for example, Tommy is here. He's the program manager for Infomar, and he's a work package lead in Mission Atlantic. I'm sure you all know. I'm a work package lead in EMOD Net Seabed Habitats. We have scoped and developed and delivered a Sea Rover project and a Sea Rover synthesis project using EMFAF funding, and you'll see some of the relevance to that in the talk. And currently we are delivering the SeaShelf project under MSFD funding. So just to recap, the value-added exploitation program in Infomar allows for project alignments and better resource management, and it allows the development and delivery of tools and data to different sectoral areas. One thing that we've learned is that we need to have direct engagement early on with the different policy actors. And this is something that we've learned the hard way to a certain extent. The policy needs can then get addressed through elements of each value-added project. And this has helped us to understand over the last 18 years, to understand the dynamic nature of what feels like an evolving policy landscape, at least in Ireland. So the projects that I'm going to discuss here, the value is approximately €3 million since 2017. Now, just to illustrate the value of that to a country like Ireland, these projects have directly contributed to increasing Ireland's marine protected area from 2% to 10% in that time. That's a pretty good win for that amount of money. So the first and most high impact project that we delivered and scoped was the Sea Rover project. It is a 3-year project from 2017 to 2019, and it was scoped in cooperation with our National Parks and Wildlife Service. So they were in at the very start to tell us what they needed. It comprised 3 offshore survey legs, 1 a year, from 2017 to 2019, with 60 days in total. And it was worth about €2 million from EMFAF funding in water depths of between 500 and 2,500 meters. And the rationale for this was that offshore reefs being protected under the EU Habitats Directive, they were reported as unfavourable and bad in the MSFD assessment. So that established the need to acquire this biogenic and a geogenic baseline data set in the area. So you can see there the every star, if you like, is an area that we would have done ROV transects on the shelf, and it's color coded by year. So you can see it's quite a large scale project for relatively small amount of money, relatively small time. So we were very, very efficient when we scoped it. We scoped it using the baseline Infomar data, which would give us a head start, and we knew where to go, what we were looking for. Because what we wanted to do is we wanted to hit offshore reef habitats. Really. And so we got all of this data, and so we needed to scope another project to process the data and to develop products that would deliver into policy implementation. So we scoped the Sea Rover synthesis, and this was a relatively small, low-value project, about €100,000. And in this project, we collated, reviewed, and processed the data from Sea Rover, and we created new products to deliver the data in an accessible way. A significant part of this was actually the engagement with the policy implementation actors in Ireland. So we would have got them all into a room, had a workshop, found out what they wanted from these data and how they best could use these data. And these were the people that would be responsible for MPA designation, for MSFD assessments, etc. We had the OSPAR people in as well. And so this was the list of products and outputs that we went and delivered as part of the Sea Rover synthesis. So synthesis report, updated standard operating procedures for this type of work, recommended operating guidelines as well for some elements of the work, a lot of biotopes and species lists, web access to the data results and integration into the Marine Institute Marine Atlas. We also delivered WebGIS layers to illustrate the transects, locations, reef distribution, etc. And we also delivered the data to EMODNet and classified to UNIS. And we addressed OSPAR and ICES calls with it. And this is the highest profile, probably the most impactful output of it. It's the Sea Rover Synthesis web mapping service, and it's accessible on the Marine Institute data portal. And it really is worth going in to have a look. I'm not going to live show it here because everybody knows what happens when you do that. So if you go into it, it'll give you information on the spatial distribution of the transects. We also have got the ROV dives are listed in there and spatially represented, and you can click onto them and it brings you to the actual ROV video. And some of these videos are 3 to 4 hours long, and there's like a lot of them, 154. So you can click on it and you can actually go in and start the dive. And a lot of these, all of the ROV videos have got information panels on them. So it gives you the highlights of species occurrence or of pressures occurrence on any particular dive. So you can just click on the link and it jumps straight to that point in the dive. We've also generated lots of species lists and operational taxonomic units and biotope lists. And some of these are time marked as well, so it's all cross-referenced in there. The big hope for this is that we can then integrate all of the subsequent projects of this type into one place, because the main ask was to have the data easily and readily available and accessible. So this is just an example of the conservation targets met through the synthesis of the Sea Rover data. So out of 89 dives, 60% of them encountered reef habitats, and 147 of the 154 dives encountered conservation listed habitats. So that's a pretty good strike rate for a planned project using the Infomar baseline bathymetric and geomorphological data. So SeaShelf is the follow-on from Sea Rover, and that's the project that we're currently in the middle of delivery. It's the Irish Shelf and Upper Slope Habitat Assessment, and it's funded under EMFAF Marine Biodiversity Scheme. And again, its value is about $750,000, so it's a lower value project than Sea Rover. We are learning lessons along the way as we do these projects. So this project is on a smaller vessel. We're using a smaller ROV system, an inspection class ROV, rather than the big work class ROV we used for Sea Rover. Because we're in shallower water, we're in 80 meters to 200 meters on the shelf. This allows us a significant amount of flexibility actually in operational requirements and operational delivery. So the actual aims of the project is to extend the benthic habitat mapping knowledge beyond the coastal waters and offshore reef habitat, basically the middle bit on the shelf, to identify VME habitats and to improve the MSFD assessments on seabed integrity. And we kind of want to provide data that's readily available to underpin further MPA designations, 30 by 2030. Another thing that has come up, and I referred to it earlier in the talk, is this kind of changing policy landscape. So we have a thing in Ireland, it's the National Designated Maritime Area Plan, and the DMAP for short. So this needs to be delivered by 2027. And there's a significant number of gap areas still to be carried out by Infomar. So this project is able to help address some of those gap areas directly to contribute to the evidence base that's going to be required to deliver this map. So at the outset, we identified through engagement with the relevant policy areas, the different priorities and compliance needs that we could deliver as part of this project. So just as an example, for the Marine Strategy Framework Directive, we were hoping to deliver to map seabed integrity to assess good environmental status. For the ORE and infrastructure sector, we wanted to classify seabed substrate stability and habitat interactions as part of this project. And for the broader climate change requirement to monitor long-term seabed and habitat changes. So in order to derive that, we basically had an ongoing stakeholder engagement to assess the acquisition requirements in SeaShelf. So we talked to different actors, the Marine Institute, we discussed with the fisheries and aquaculture sections their requirements. The National Parks and Wildlife Service, we discussed the Natura 2000 and Habitats Directive issues. And for the Department of Housing and Local Government and Heritage, they're responsible for delivery of MSFD and MSP in Ireland. So we had one-to-one interactions with them about what they actually needed. The 2025 acquisition for SeaShelf was actually directly informed through that engagement, where they said, we need this data in this gap area. Can you get it for us? So it goes back to the firefighting that we were talking about maybe yesterday, but it's actually quite relevant, and it delivered what they required. So the survey effort for SeaShelf is about 32 days with an inspection class ROV. Last year we did 8 days on the Tom Crean down in the Celtic Sea. This year we did 10 days there on the west coast in that red box there with 2025 beside it. And next year we've got 14 more days. So in the Celtic Sea, we targeted the canyon areas and some VME areas. We acquired 49 transect areas and 12 graph samples. This year, we were in that gap in the west coast. We did 35 ROV dives. We got 52 samples, and we've some of them sent off for benthic faunal analysis. And we also acquired some multi-beam coverage at night, and that actually feeds value directly back into Infomar because it's in an area we haven't done yet. So it's kind of a circular value process that's really interesting. So this is the kind of survey plan for SeaShelf. It's ongoing. So we're to map and characterize the benthic habitats across the Irish Shelf. And we're targeting sites representing varying pressures and levels of human activity. And the whole idea for this is so that we can perhaps go back and do repeat survey on these areas and deliver the start of a time series. So people can start establishing pressure gradients on the shelf. We also focused a lot on boundary areas using existing backscatter, so looking at the intensity differences and those margins. And we use the ROV across those boundaries. And hopefully this will feed into the development of thresholds for future assessments as well. We acquired quite a significant suite of biological samples. We hope to do the same next year. We've also developed a real-time machine learning algorithm, which was trained up on species in 2024 using that data. And we're going to train it up on different species using the 2025 data. And it just works really well. That's just a GIF of it there. So, the process of this project evolution has really helped us to identify how to be impactful and relevant in delivering to policy. So we definitely discovered that direct engagement early on is what's required, because that allows you to scope and plan the outputs and tools that are going to be used, instead of just thinking with your big brain, this is what we'll make. It's really important to talk to the people that are going to be using the tools to see what they actually want, because you'll find that what they actually want sometimes doesn't tally with what you think they want. We've also learned that we need to be flexible, because this allows for reprioritizations, as happened with us this year with the delivery to the national DMAP. And it allows us to change slightly the scope of the products that we deliver. It's kind of it feels like an ever-changing environment. Policies are kind of, some people see them as set in stone, but they're not. Frankenstein policies seem to drop out of the sky at regular intervals for us. So it's an ever-changing policy landscape. It's over a long-term 20-year program. And the most important thing is that the data are findable, accessible, interoperable, repeatable, and that other F is for free, if possible. So if you want to talk any more or you want to ask questions about this, I'm around for the rest of the day, and Tommy's here for the rest of the day. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, Fergal, for this excellent presentation and for these beautiful images. And it's quite stunning what you can observe from these ROVs, and hopefully also combine with the multi-beam acoustics.
It's a break from the modeling as well.
Yeah,
so
definitely. Any comments around the room? Patricio, please.
Thank you. Thanks. We have developed some workflow to kind of mosaic some of these images from ROV and do species recognition in a similar way to this one. And we found that actually using a stereo camera system on ROVs to allow 3D reconstruction will help in the AI recognition of object and species. So is the ROV with a stereo camera or single camera?
It's we're very fortunate. It's a smaller ROV, but it's built in-house by this small local company, Inspection Class. And they're doing lots of different trials with the different camera configurations. So they obviously have a single camera, they have a stereo camera. So we actually have done quite a lot of photogrammetry, and we've brought the data from 2024 into 3D environment, with off-the-shelf Oculus and stuff, so you can walk around the actual seabed. And they also have a Netflix standard cinema camera. So it's just incredibly high definition. So we've seen they did a trial on that this year. So that's the real beauty about getting involved with these smaller companies, is that they're so keen to develop this relationship. And they really do. They're using it as a test as well for their own new equipment and stuff. So it's a two-way benefit, and it's something we don't talk about enough. I think it's really important. But to answer your question, the different configurations are in trial, and what will come out of that, hopefully in next year, we'll consolidate it and be able to deliver some nice imagery and nice products related to that.
We should talk, because we always have every semester kind of 30 students. They are looking for data from ROVs to do mosaicing and things like that.
We have full access to
a small army.
You have full access to our Sea Rover data. You can have that.
Yeah.
All you need is just a data request to us, and we just provide it to you.
Great.
Excellent. Thanks a lot. It's approaching coffee break, so if you have some further questions,
I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed Dave hasn't asked a question.
Oh, he wants coffee, that's why. So you can meet him at the coffee machine. Thank you.